Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams Squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to the Rams Squad Show. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA, and I'm joined by former Rams great Michael Brockers, and we are going to break down the Rams blowout win of the San Francisco 49ers, a convincing win up at Levi's. The Rams win by a final score of 42-26. We're going to break it all down. We're going to tell you what it means. We're going to tell you why Matthew Stafford really should be the front runner for the MVP right now and why it feels so good to beat the rivals today. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. All right, Brock, so I just got to break something out because there was some to you know what up at Levi's Stadium, okay? And Brock, that score did not reflect how convincing of a win that was. Your boy, Nate Landman, he got you another peanut punch. Stafford got me another 4 touchdown passes. Devonta Adams in the red zone, Puka doing his thing. I think it was a complete team win, and my favorite thing about it, every time the Niners would punch, the Rams would punch back. But just this is the most satisfying win of the season because of the score, because of the team, and because I think the direction this team is heading in.
Absolutely. I mean, we didn't have any special teams issues like, a game without special teams issue. Look how dominating it is, you know? So, no, it was a dominating victory by the Rams. I love the fact that they turned it up. I think I mentioned this in a couple of shows, maybe a couple of shows ago, where this is the point of time where people don't like to tackle. Guys don't like to tackle in the back end. You know, it's cold out. It's a little windy. Your bones a little, more jittery. So for the back end of the season, it's almost a trend that guys start to, break tackles a little bit more, things of that nature. And then when you got two backs pretty much of the same nature, I love the fact that they came out in 13 personnel, 12 personnel, and just simply said, like, we're going to be the physical opponent today. So they came out, and I think they did what a good team should do, and they went out and dominated the way that they should, especially in the back end of the season now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said it best, is that this team looked different with the 13 personnel, and the fact that this is not the same offense that the 49ers saw in Week 5. It was also not the same start that the Rams got in Game 5 in Week 5 versus today. The Rams come out and they are just rolling. I mean, before you blink, it felt like it was a 14-0 game, and then you're heading up to halftime and you're looking like, okay, is this going to be a blowout of San Francisco? I mean, I had 26-20 ends up. I mean, this is you dropped a 40 piece against the 49ers, and you're really just winning convincing. And I do think that, like you said, this was more of a, okay, yes, they're the 49ers. Yes, this is a rival. Yes, it always feels like it means more, right? I mean, you know them more than anyone else. But also, the great teams, it's like, hey, if you're on the schedule, fine, but we're going to beat you no matter what. And it felt like they just went up there and they just took care of business. It was a little business trip up to the Bay, and they took care of business in a big way.
Absolutely. I mean, when the 49ers came here, it was on a short week, and I hate to give us an excuse, but I mean, it's on a short week. We're facing a divisional opponent. We just got finished with a tough game. It's just like it was set up in some kind of way for the 49ers to come up there on a short week to go, come in and sneak a victory out in SoFi. But this week was a week that you knew it was coming. You knew we would see you again. Like, let's see who comes out of this, this second fight or the second round unscathed. And it was the Rams. They utterly just, I guess, made it up in their mind that they were going to be the most physical team today. You've seen it out there offensively, defensively. They went out and dominated the line of scrimmage, and I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, obviously, the 49ers are gonna, get their plays. You got Christian McCaffrey out there. He's gonna make some plays. But for the most part, I love the way the defense was contained in it. They end up getting 2 turnovers. It really doesn't matter if you go out there and truly dominate without getting the ball back for your offense. And when you get the ball back for your offense and it's scoring, you get 40 points on the board. So, yeah, I love to see the way the Rams played today.
Yeah, and to see 42 on the board, Stafford 24 for 36, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. But it's who caught those touchdowns, right? Anytime Devontae gets a touchdown, I love it. I'm happy. I mean, he had one drop in the first half, but I think that was the sun, man. That weird stadium, the sun. But for the most part, he's doing what he's supposed to do for the Rams. That's be a red zone target. But it was the Colby Parkinson touchdown. It was the Davis Allen touchdown, catching his 400th of his career. And what that means, and we've talked about on this show, Brock, this feels like there's a new chapter for Sean McVay. This feels like it's the evolution of Sean McVay and teams that are well coached. Let's be honest. 49ers, you can say whatever you want. They're a well-coached football team with Kyle Shanahan, and they look like they didn't have any answers when it comes to the 13 personnel. And today you saw that when they're going to those looks, it really presents a serious problem to those defenses because it really forces them to play base defense that limits their playbook while the Rams playbook opens up. I mean, you got 4 tight ends, and each of those guys can make plays in different ways. Higbee made a big play. Parkinson got the walk-in, seal the deal touchdown. Davis Allen back of the end zone, 4-yarder. It's 400th of the season. And I think, too, what I love about Terrence Ferguson, he had that drop or just kind of a miscommunication, a little awkward there. And then he goes back to him and he makes another play. So, I mean, we know that this is the organization that has the fearsome foursome. It almost feels like there's like a fearsome foursome tight end thing happening for the Rams, and it's opening a lot of things up. And it's really cool to see the evolution of Sean McVay in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a guy who's, for the most part, he's been in love with the 11 personnel. You can do a lot with it. You can run in it. You can throw the ball in it. But when he switches it up mid-season and has a new package, a new personnel that, he's kind of, loving to mix and mingle with, it gives defensive coordinators a lot more to deal with. You don't know what he's going to come out with. Obviously he has all 4 tight ends playing. You don't know what position he's going to put him in to be successful. And then, like you said, every one of them made plays. And then you have to worry about Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So it's just giving, this offense like an onion, man, just more layers. So come, back into the season when the games really count, you never know what they're going to come out with. So it's going to be tough playing this team, especially if they're rolling in and out of different packages. And you have to prepare for everything. Nobody's perfect. And that goes for some of these players out here that make a lot of money, man. Sean McVay is going to do his best to put his players in position to make plays.
Yeah, Brock, and I was actually thinking about you during this game because I'm thinking like, man, Brock's been in this game, this rivalry, played so many games, and it always feels like that it's never a lack of information on both sides, right? I mean, the Rams building, the Niners building, it's 24/7 trying to beat the other team. You've got extensive film room sessions, and these guys are going to do their homework on both sides. But when they cut to Robert Saleh and he looked dejected, like we had no film on this. Like we couldn't prepare for this. We also don't have Fred Warner, right? And they can't cover anyone. It just almost felt like this was just kind of this new era of Rams versus 49ers football. And like, let's be honest, like we beat them. We, of course, you play for the team. I didn't, but you know what it is. But the Rams beat them when it mattered most. But it was always kind of this measuring stick game every year. Like, I don't care that, yes, Brock Purdy's not in there and Fred Warner's not in there. They've been decimated by injuries. But was it fair to say, Brock, that you always kind of use the 49ers a little bit as a measuring stick game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because they're always one of the top teams in the NFC towards the end of the year, man. Like you said, very well coached team. Kyle Shanahan has been doing this for a long time, or has been in his lineage for a long time. Let's say that. And now it's his turn. So they've always been a very, well coached team. And we've seen it in the past when it came down to it. Who did we have to face in the top of the NFC? Playing the 49ers in SoFi to go win a championship. So for me, it's always a great measuring stick with a team in your division that's always consistently at the top, at the top of the NFC, in order for you to get past, to get to that next level or to win those championships, you have to see a team that knows you the most. So if you win that game, you pretty much know you've got it won, versus anybody else. So it's always fun and entertaining and just a good feeling when you go out and dominate a divisional opponent.
And honestly, it kind of feels like, hey, it was going to be a Niners-Rams kind of battle for the division. Now it feels like, hey, it's a collision course between the Seahawks and the Rams, and that starts next week. But we're going to enjoy this one before we get there. Another thing too is you mentioned Davante Adams, and kind of my thought for it. My thoughts moving forward is like, now the Rams have done this, and we kind of talked about it when Puka went out against the Ravens. Like, oh, what are they gonna do without Puka? He's the guy he's the one you're talking about as the MVP up until that point of the season. And then we said on this show, man, this is the Rams show that was saying that with all of us, like, hey, the positive of this is it's going to force Sean McVay's hand into involving the tight ends. And we were just pounding our fists on this desk and just saying, hey, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, and how that helps Davante Adams. And I look at it, it almost feels like the way this opens things up, you're moving things down the field with the tight ends, and then you get to the red zone, opens things up for Davante Adams at the goal line. Oh, cool. You want to put multiple dudes on Davante? They'll just run it with Kyron Williams or Blake Corum. Want to go Tay one-on-one? All right, he's going to win that battle. So it really feels like McVay kind of has defenses in checkmate right now. And my fear, Brock, is like, hey, like, we that's kind of what happened with you guys back in the day, where it always felt like you were one play ahead of the defensive coordinator, and then guys adjusted. But it took a while for guys to adjust to you back in the day. I'm hoping that that's the case for the rest of this year with this Rams offense.
I mean, I hope I don't give this away, but I mean, he just flipped the script. You know where we at the beginning of the season where we ran the ball to open it up downfield. Now we throw it downfield to open up our run game. It softens up the defense a little bit when you got to worry about Davante running a 20-yard dig, or Puka getting out on the screen, and you're worried about all these playmakers on the outside of the field, and you got Matthew Stafford lighting it up. It starts to soften you up. You start looking back and start wondering where your coverage is, and then all of a sudden we're running the ball, and Kyron is a bowling ball. Him and Blake Corum are bowling balls when it comes to running inside, and they're just pinging off of tackles and continue to drive their feet. So I think he really just flipped the script, obviously. And then when you get a personnel like 12 personnel, 13 personnel, in the defense's mind, okay, that's more run heavy type of field. And then you get out there and you start throwing the ball and you start mixing it up. So I think what you said is correct. It's almost like he has a checkmate at this point of the season, just with the big switch after Puka gets back and things like that. So I'm loving where we're at right now, and I love the fact that going into the postseason, you never know what we're gonna do. So it's like we have control of our own destiny.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brock, it makes me laugh because I remember you and I on the show laughing about saying we weren't going to predict the Rams to ever score more than 30 points because that was kind of where it was at, right? Defense is great. And it just kind of, now it's like, boom, like we roll out of bed and we're getting a 30-piece. So it's just so wild how the NFL season feels short, but then it kind of feels long too. And it's like, it feels like 10 years ago when the Rams weren't scoring points at this level. And now all of a sudden they are. And I think too, the other thing that kind of makes me really mind blown by this is they're making it look easy. Like they're really, it's just about going out there and executing. You're seeing that and guys getting involved in, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just saying, hey, I don't want to have a Rams team like peaking too early. And I don't think that's the case for this group because I remember in 2021, you had that stretch where you lose 3 straight games in the middle of the season. But I do think this is such a focused group that understands the window that they do have with Matthew Stafford. And after the break, we'll talk some more Stafford and the defense because it almost feels like this team knows how special of a season they could have because the truth is you're not going to have this core together for the next 4 or 5 seasons. That's just not how it is with this group. So, hey, let's go ahead and win another Lombardi right now. I think that's got to be the move for this Rams team. We're going to talk more about this defense next. Me and Rams great Michael Brockers. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make you work easier and to make work easier overall, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your terms and your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill in the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnfl. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnfl. That's rippling.com/lockedonnfl for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. And we are off and running here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Thank you to everyone that makes us your go-to Rams post-game show. We've seen the channel grow, the numbers go up, and hey, it's going to get serious because the playoffs are right around the corner. Time to lock in. So if you're new to the show, now's the time to join that Everyday Listeners Club. So that's where you just watch or listen to everything we drop, and you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. All right, Brock, in our second segment, of course, you were a stud on defense. So we're going to talk about some of these studs for the Rams defense because the pass rush, I know that you've got a special eye for it because you played that position at this level. Byron Young, Jared Verse, they've wreaked havoc. They've been disruptors all season. They were kind of quiet on Sunday. Mac Jones wasn't sacked a single time, but they didn't get a lot of pressure. They never got home. But I think that this was kind of more a reflection of Kyle Shanahan and respecting Byron Young and Jared Verse and what those guys are capable of. And I think that it was an indication about their strategy and their game calling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a team, that we played against and they beat us last time at home, and we continue to hold the run game under 100 yards. Brian Robinson Jr. had 41 yards and Christian McCaffrey had 30 yards. So for me, I'm looking at that. I'm like, they hold them to 74 yards in total, and you just make a team one-dimensional. And after that, after you have them in a one-dimensional battle and they're playing from behind, you kind of know what they're doing. So obviously, Mac Jones went out there and had 319 yards passing. But, for me, it's all about controlling the offense. They couldn't run the ball, so they had to, throw the ball. They were put in a lot of, third and long situations, second and long situations. So for me, man, it's all about controlling the offense, and defensively, that's what they're doing. You can tell this defensive front is a very young and hungry defensive front, and I think that's the biggest thing about it is like how young we are and how hungry our defensive line is after you. Like maybe we didn't get home, but we pressured a lot, and obviously the game plan was just like before: get the ball out fast, don't allow these rushers to get home. Check the ball down, things of that nature. But we made tackles, we got the ball back twice, on defense, and I think that's ultimately what happened in the game that made it look the way it was with a dominant performance by the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you get the effort that they bring and the talent that they have, the sacks are inevitable. And sometimes they're not going to come against a team like the San Francisco 49ers because, Shanahan's going to try to hit you with underneath routes and intermediate stuff and try to get the ball out quick. But look, that's why it's important when you're going up against these guys to have athletic freaks like Jared Verse and Byron Young. But there were some big standouts, though, like on defense. I got to give this guy some love because we've been very critical about the cornerback play this year. And look, rightfully so. They did struggle early on the season, but has the light turned on for Emmanuel Forbes? I mean, you saw his best. That was his best play. I mean, really, he deflects a pass from Jones, goes back to himself, for an interception, and it was a 4th down stop, and that essentially ended the game. And if I told you a couple weeks ago that Emmanuel Forbes was the dude that was ending games in important division games against San Francisco 49ers, you might not have believed me. You might have been saying, no, they'll probably play the corner they traded for, and he'll be a depth piece. But, hey, got to give credit to this Rams organization. They claimed him from the Commanders for a reason. They put a lot of time and effort in developing him. And the truth is, you're going to start to see those dividends pay off towards this part of the season, right? I mean, so now it's starting to look like all that work that he's put in with him, the organization, is starting to pay off. So very happy for Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah, and I, for me, it's all about obviously the players, but I think the players love playing for the coach they have. Mr. Aubrey Pleasant is the cornerback or DB coach for the Rams. I was with him in LA. I was with him, when I was traded to Detroit, and then now seeing him back there and just knowing him as a coach and understanding like how passionate he is. The guys love playing for him. Obviously, he's a stickler on technique, where you have to be, the knowledge of the game and things of that nature. But the guys love playing for him because he gives you that like that father figure or that uncle feeling where you got a guy who's truly passionate about just seeing you succeed. And I love the fact that every year, for the most part, man, his guys love playing for him. They go out there and make plays for him. And I just wanted to shout him out, give him some flowers because he does a great job with that DB room. He might not have the guys he used to have with Jalen Ramsey and guys of that nature, but with the young team that they've kind of built, here with the Rams, the young guys love playing for them, and they go out there and play for each other and and together as a unit. I think that's why they're having so much success.
Yeah, you always hear great things about Aubrey Pleasant. I think that's one of the many things that this Rams organization does really, really well is put coaches and position coaches in areas where you can impact a player in a way like that, where you just don't, it doesn't show up on a box score like Manuel Forbes wanting to just go at a 10 instead of a 9.9 because he sees Aubrey Pleasant in his shoulder, in his head, and it's like, okay, it's like a culture thing. And it feels like they always have the culture thing nailed down. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's no surprise to me to kind of see him turn the corner. And now he's got that confidence knowing I made a play like this in a big game like this. And he wants to be that guy. Like, and this is a former first-round pick, right? This is a guy that has had success throughout his career. In his mind, he thinks that this is where he's supposed to be. I also think, too, on top of rewarding Aubrey Pleasant, he wants to reward Les Snead and McVay and the Rams for saying, hey, this is the team that believed in me. Well, my team just said, hey, I'm going to kick this guy to the curb, even though it was a first-round pick. So I like players with an edge. I like players that have something to prove, and it feels like he's that guy. And another thing, too, is on that play, even though the pass rush wasn't the elite pass rush we've seen throughout parts of this season, on that throw by Mac Jones, you had Braden Fisk, you had Tyler Davis collapsing the pocket and forcing that throw. And I think that's one thing I always tell people, don't be a box score, like a highlight watcher, and let that determine your take on the game, because that's a perfect example of something that's really not going to show up, but it also shows that, hey, you got pressure from a different area of your defensive line. It kind of speaks to the quality and depth of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that D-line, like I said earlier in the show, is a very hungry unit inside and out. You got Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk. They bring in juice, from the inside. But, like I said before in the show, they're making the teams one-dimensional. When they're going to, pass the ball, obviously you can just kind of pin your ears back and go get them. The 49ers were you could tell just by the game plan, they didn't want the D-line to start wreaking havoc and get, and making themselves known in this game. So what do? They throw the ball quick. They have quick, hidden plays, things of that nature. So that it kind of takes the D-line out of the game, especially if you're going deep into the game and it's a tight game. But, these guys were after it today. I love the back end. They were very sticky. And then also, we got those 2 turnovers. When you get 2 turnovers, for the most part, you see yourself winning that game. And that's what we went out and did. We were definitely very physical on both sides of the ball up front. And I think that's why we had the performance we had.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you look at the way they performed, it was kind of a bend but don't break style of defense. And the Rams basically came into this one saying, okay, we'll give you some yards. Like, we'll let you work your way down the field, but you will not outscore us. Like, that offense is not going to outscore Matthew Stafford and company, and they proved that in this one. I think, look, I mean, people, like I've seen in the comments, Brock, people give us credit for being what I call us the first show. We're the Keep It 100 Rams show, right? Like, we keep it a buck on this one. Like, think of a little 100 emoji next to our thing. And for keeping it 100, I would say, like, Cam Curl gave up some yards in coverage. The tight ends, George Kittle had 9 catches for 84 yards in a touchdown. Luke Farrell, 18 yards in a touchdown. So Curl, he was matched up. And we know how good Cam Curl is on defense. We know the kind of tough player he is overall. But he got a little bit, I mean, they kind of attacked him. And our guy, Nate Landman, I still think had overall a really, really nice game. And anytime you cause a turnover with another peanut punch, you kind of make up for a lot of deficiencies. But that's going to be something to kind of look at moving forward, right? Is just the production that he's been allowing through the air as well. What'd you kind of think of the performance against the tight ends?
I mean, they're going to make plays. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's not many guys who can stop George Kittle from catching the ball if he really wants to go out there and catch the ball. Obviously, you know, once we were up by a lot, 2 scores. After that, I think we start playing a little bit more softer coverage. You know, letting things happen in front of us. You know, making sure we tackle the ball inbounds, let the clock run. Because as you said, they knew they weren't going to outpoint us with Matthew Stafford being as hot as he is. And they knew once they're up by, 2 touchdowns, hey, let's kind of see what we can get, from the 49ers standpoint. But I think the Rams were definitely playing a lot soft coverage. Like I said, just let everything happen in front of you, knock the ball down or tackle the ball inbounds, let the clock run, and just keep them from scoring. Obviously, it's very hard to score in the red zone. There's only so many routes you can run being that close. So let them take the whole field. And get and take the time off the clock. And I think that's kind of what we were playing towards the end of the game, especially when we got up by 2 touchdowns. It was more of a let's try to win this game and not be aggressive and be egotistical like some coaches are. But let's really go out here and win this game. So let everything happen in front of you, and we leave here with a victory. But it doesn't look good on the stat sheet, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I would recommend, if you can have a former NFL player on your show, have a former NFL player on your show, because they will give you the reality of what actually occurred. And I think that's a fantastic point, is that, hey, you get the clock becomes not your friend. I mean, the clock becomes your friend when you have a lead like that, right? So, hey, if Kittle's going to be the guy, I mean, they're going to make plays, like you said, like they're going to get some first downs, but it's just about, all right, now we have a comfortable lead. The clock is winding down. And look, Cam Curl, Nate Landman, they have their strengths and weaknesses, right? Like every player. So it's not something to totally freak out over. I mean, I have to say, like, I didn't love that last touchdown just from a aesthetic standpoint. You know what I mean? Like, I want this to feel like more of a BTA type of whooping, an old fashioned one, like we know. But still, I mean, you just cannot complain about the results when you not only were able to win, but what was the big question heading into this one? How can you stop Christian McCaffrey, who's had the second most yards? And when you look at, as far as his team's overall production, 37% of the overall production of his offense comes from him. And once again, the Rams proved that they can stop an elite running back. Today, Christian McCaffrey, 12 carries, 30 yards, and most impressively, his long was a 5-yard long. And yes, 66 yards receiving on 8 catches, had a 19-yard long, but you kept him out of the end zone. You had a great game plan against him. It didn't feel like, when I was just watching the film for 49ers before this one, where he was just wide open, like we talked about in the preview show, where he just in space. The Rams got to him quick, and they limited the damage. So that's another impressive thing, how they were to bottle up Christian McCaffrey for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that, they went out there and dominated another, running back, opponent where we feel like, oh, man, he should have tons of yards. He's been doing that to every other team. And then he comes facing this defense who's, we play great team defense, and I love that fact that everybody just does their job. It's nobody that goes, besides my landman peanut punch. Other than that, man, everybody just does their job. If you're supposed to break on the ball, and that's why I said I appreciate the way Aubrey Pleasant, coaches, because he really, he wants his guys to just play natural. Like, if you can understand what you're getting, understanding the routes that you're seeing, understand the splits, you can go out there and play natural because you almost feel like you know what they're going to run. So he gets his guys feeling like, oh man, I know what's going to come. I can shoot, I can, really jump this route or whatever, what have you. So I love the way he's coaching his guys to play in the back end. But, we just play great team defense. We tackle, we get the guys on the ground. We get those tackles for losses when we need them. And then when it comes to the pass rush, if our guys are on fire, and we can get to the pass as well. So I just love the fact that we're playing great team defense. No, it's not just one thing you can say on our defense is a problem. Like, everybody has their hand in it at times, but I just love the fact that we play together. The corners, the linebackers, the defensive line, we all work together to stop the offense and make them do what we want them to do.
Yeah, and I didn't think of it that way because I'm usually kind of individualizing each player and just kind of seeing what they did or they didn't do. But I think that's the best way to describe the performance today, because when you think of team defense, it's okay, you don't feel like one area is a particular weakness that they can exploit. And I think that was on display in this one throughout. Is okay, yeah, they're going to get theirs, but there's enough solid in there throughout the day that you feel good about the way your offense is performing. And I think, too, like, we know that this defense, like, has the talent to – there's going to be some games in the back half of the season where you're not going to get 34 and 35 and 42 from your offense. And we're going to get back to those days where it's the defense outshining the offense. And as Sean McVay says, it's a champagne problem, right? And that's what you want. Is the truth is a lot of teams is, our offense has to carry us. Our defense has to carry us. The great thing about the Rams in 2025 and why I think they're a legitimate, possibly one of the top 3 to 5 teams to pick if you're going to make a Super Bowl pick right now, is because the defense can shine, the offensive can shine, and as you point out too, the thing that makes us feel the best is that the special teams was not a problem in this one. By the way, I don't know if you saw Aaron Donald's tweet. Did you see Aaron Donald's tweet?
No, I did not.
All right, we're going to bring it up after the break because clearly AD and myself were on the same page with this one. We're also going to read the comments down below. We got a lot of comments here joining us on the Rams NFL Squad Show. Some good stuff in there. That's coming up next on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel is great and has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And welcome back to the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Here in our third segment, we are still breaking down the most satisfying win of the season. Anyone who thought that the Rams weren't a legit contender, you got to change your tune after this one. And I got people sending me this tweet that are watching the show because they're telling me that we were on the same page. Aaron Donald tweeted, Brock, he tweeted, belt to you know what, good-ish Rams.
Yeah.
So he's bringing up the belt too. And I told you why. The reason why AD is my favorite player of all time is you on record and said, I hate the 49ers. I love players that got that mindset. And hey, it's always good to hear from AD, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. The GOAT, man. Come on now. He believes that blue and gold through and through.
No doubt about it. And I think that you look at the rest of the D-line, he's got to feel proud, right? He's got to feel great. And we got to talk about the special teams. Now, the negative is the Rams, they didn't really give the 49ers a lot of chances to return the ball. They allowed just 2 returns in the game. The Sky Moore, he returned a punt 27 yards. That set up a San Francisco touchdown. They also gave Moore a kick return in the second half that went 16 yards. So that also set up a touchdown drive. So if we're looking at the negatives, it was the punt kick coverage. But, hey, I think the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis, he has a presence. He kind of has a presence, and it feels like we didn't give him a lot of chances, which I think is a good thing. But I don't know. What did you think about to just see him out there on those extra points?
They went through the uprights. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all I really care about is that they made the kicks. Because we know how hard this special team unit has blocking kicks and having the right timing down and operation and things like that, man. I was just glad to see the ball go through the uprights. It's always a good game for us when we don't have to worry about the special teams. And usually special teams are supposed to be the most quieted unit on the team because you're not supposed to hear from them all game. No penalties, no nothing. They're supposed to go out there and do their job, and then they come back to the sideline. When you have a game where you don't really hear from the special teams or you don't really think it's a factor, that's when you know you've had a great special teams day because they went out there and did their job.
Exactly. And we've seen them miss extra points this season, right? So don't tell me an extra point is a gimme, especially in the modern day NFL. And Harrison Mevis, he goes 6 for 6 with extra points today. And that's exactly what you want. You just want, I think it's a good opportunity too. Like if you're going to give him chances in the future to kind of have that soft landing, like the last thing you want is a game where it's his first game and you're relying on a kicker against your rival on the road. I almost think that whether this was intentional or not, the Rams kind of were like, all right, man, like we got this for today. We're going to need you at some point. Trust me. But today, or at least for today, man, this is your little onboarding, man. Like it's your first day at work, right? We're not going to make you like stay until like, 10:30 at night or whatever. Like, it's your first day, everything's kind of a little more chill, right?
No, for sure. When you don't got to go out there and you're not under pressure for a game-winning, for a game-winning kicker.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
No,
you don't
for
want
sure. But I'm glad he was able to showcase for us Rams fans that he can get the ball through the upright. I think that's at the end of the day, that's what we care about most. We don't care about how big your leg is or anything like that. We just want to know, do you get the ball through the uprights? And he did that today. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but he wins the position for me. We didn't have to worry about him. So let him rock out for a couple of more weeks and just see how consistent he can be. And if he is, man, let's just use him for the rest of the season.
He had a thicker kicker. Like, I mean, I was like on the fence. And when I found that was his nickname, like, let's be honest, like the kicking is where you can have change just for the sake of change. And I think we're both on the same page with that. Like, let's see what this guy can do. Like, I feel like this is the kind of dude where like fans kind of fall in love with him, right? Like he makes one big kick and then like they start wearing t-shirts, the thicker kicker stuff. So I just think that this whole operation needed a change. And today, I mean, it feels like there's something there. Of course, we see him make 40 and 50-yard kicks. A 60 would be nice every now and then. But yeah, I mean, we still have to see what we have from him, but I still feel good about the change. Got to talk about Matthew Stafford. We talked about him pretty much this whole show, but I mean, another 4 touchdown passes today, had the no looker. And did you see a shimmy? I mean, he was kind of like hit that shimmy a little bit. Like he was feeling himself.
He was feeling it. He was feeling himself, bro. I'd love to see it. And I think Tom Brady was calling the game today, and he was showing Matthew Stafford a lot of love, man. Just getting out there, doing the little things. Why throw a no looker? Oh, it's because it freezes all the DBs, and now you can throw and you know where your guy is. So to see him get that much praise from the GOAT, the great one, is highly touted. And for me, man, Matthew Stafford, for a guy we very questionable coming in, worried about his back, and he is out here balling right now. I love where we're at right now. We have a quarterback, and anytime you have a great quarterback, man, you got a chance of winning it all.
No doubt about it. I love you pointing that out too, because it's not like he's out there just trying to get style points with the no look. Like there's you could freeze frame it. There's an absolute function, the way that it impacts defensive backs. Like I mean, dudes, I haven't seen a dude throw a no looks like that in LA since Magic Johnson. Right. And that's was a function of it in of itself too. So you're absolutely right on that one. I think the other things with Stafford, that are really interesting to me is, look, we know throughout his career that it's not by chance. Like, it's no coincidence that some of the best NFL regular seasons by receivers are when it's Matthew Stafford. Like, he is the one common thread, whether it be Megatron, whether it be Cooper Kupp, whether it be Puka Nacua, but you really are seeing his eyes light up with the tight ends, with the 13 personnel, and then he's just mixing it around. And I think that is what is so awesome about this version of Stafford. I mean, I've said it on this show, and I actually saw it on Fox. Maybe they watched the show. I mean, I've been calling him NFL's version of fine wine, right? He gets better with age. And I'm starting to think, man, like, are we really possibly seeing the best version of this future Hall of Famer at age 37? Because it just feels like he's in this zone right now and just everything is working for him.
Yeah, it's not too much you can really throw at him that he hasn't seen. And he's been a part of this offense, a Super Bowl playing offense. You know, him and McVay are on the same page. McVay can go out there and, you know, call the best call for the situation. And you got a guy who can, you know, who's out there pretty much a coach too, can change it up and run something else. So it's like having two coaches on the field, you know, especially in this offense. He loves playing in it. I think the biggest thing about the offense and just seeing them play together is the trust. You know, I felt like at the beginning of the season, he might have just trusted Puka to get it done. Then you lose Puka, and then now you have to lean on a lot of these other guys, and you kind of build that trust with them. You know, hey, you know, make sure you're here when you know when I turn my head around, make sure you're here, make sure your head around. You know, things like that. That, you know, maybe he didn't have that consistency with the receivers, but now you can see it that he's really trusting these guys to be where they're supposed to be. And, you know, it's not just Devontae and not just Puka, man. Even the tight ends are where they're supposed to be. Even a play by Higbee today where, you know, he gets out, you know, I think it's a 3rd and long. He throw the ball short, but he gets the first down and stays in bounds to keep the clock running. Little things like that is what people don't understand. It's why this team is so, you know, so good and in the place they're at right now. They do the little things to win games.
And that's the kind of stuff too, like you mentioned, like Stafford can't learn all that in year 2 with the Lions, right? I mean, that's stuff that comes with time. And Brock, it reminds me of something I remember seeing with Phil Simms. And Phil Simms, I forgot like what game it was, but he mentioned that there becomes a time in every quarterback's career, like the really good ones, where they can see the game at such a level where they're like looking at the matrix. Like you said, like they know where everyone's going to be. They know how to execute. And by the time they get there, though, usually their athleticism has already diminished by then. So it's kind of this frustrating thing. It's like, oh, great. I know everything. I know everything, but now I can't throw like I used to. I can't run like I used to. It feels like Matthew Stafford has gotten to the point where he's reached that level, but he still can sling it. Like he still can move, and he's really just not lost his fastball at all.
I mean, he's doing what all the GOATs do, man. They let their mind take over, man. For the most part, you know, if you can get the ball there with enough zip, you know, you still have A-Rod playing. You know, he's one of the fastest throwers in the game still, you know, at his age. So, you know, the fact that he can stand flat-footed in a pocket and sidearm or throw, you know, 20, 30 yards on the line to somebody, man, he still has it. It's all about having it up top. And, you know, like you said, man, he's playing through the matrix right now. He sees where guys are. He understands the defenses. I memean, he's really playing. He's not playing against the defense. He's playing against the defensive coordinator at the end of the day. I mean, that's who he's trying to out maneuver and, you know, move the chess pieces on the chessboard. So I'm loving where we are right now, having a veteran quarterback that can still get out there and get it done because, you know, come game time, come postseason, there's not going to be too many things he haven't seen. And I love that, you know, he can trust everybody to be in the places that they need to be. That way you never know who's going to get the ball. So I love the fact that everybody was able to touch the ball a day and be productive. And you see what happened with our dominant performance today.
Man, hey, Brock, as the kids say, that's a bar right there, right? I mean, it's not Matthew Stafford against the defense. It's Stafford against the defensive coordinator. Now I can just picture him doing that shimmy towards Salah or something like that. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, like, good luck, man, because I'm going to be there. And, hey, you know, you mentioned Tom Brady. I mean, 22 touch. We're totally jinxing him. Like, he's going to throw an interception the first drive next week because of this. But I mean, 22 touchdowns, not interception. It's the second longest streak outside of Tom Brady. I mean, that's incredible production. 400 touchdowns, also had a 401 and 402. And you mentioned Tom Brady. I'm thinking like this whole narrative about Matthew Stafford this offseason, last couple of years, with the trading out of the first round to get that extra pick, all the Arch Manning talk. It's like, I mean, like, are we like, I think we're a little premature with saying, okay, this is it. Like, even next season, is that it? Like, I mean, as long as he can do the kind of stuff he's doing now, there's no reason to move off this dude. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Dude's like 42, right? You saw what Brady did at 43. It's like 37 is like kind of like the new, I don't know, 33. I don't know. I mean, like, if the back holds up, like, there's no reason to move off this dude, right?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, if he feels like he can still go, let this be a guy that, you know, if he wants to go out in the sunset with the Rams, let him do it, man. I mean, he's given us enough, especially with the trade and, you know, coming along and winning a championship that very same year, coming out always being consistent, you know, and he's one, like I said before in the show, he's one tough SOB. You know, it's not too many times you're going to see him, you know, calling out or anything like that, man. He gets hit, he hits the ground, he gets back up, and he loves to go at it, man. So, yeah, I don't know. It must be something about that SEC blood, man, in him that's keeping him going.
Wow. An SEC pull there, man. An SEC pull there. Hey, man. You know, I watched you guys. I was rooting for your guys this weekend. Bama might be legit. Like, Bama might be legit.
Oh, my
you know?
God.
It's all good.
Yeah, we're rebuilding. Let's say that.
Yeah. You guys, there's some of those. I mean, it's kind of funny because I was kind of thinking to myself, I mean, everyone's trying to get the Rams to trade up for Mendoza and all these guys, right? And I was thinking to myself, something that you mentioned, I was like, hey, man, like, dude, if they're really going to go that direction, which I don't want them to do, but if you are going to go and get a quarterback, you know, Ty Simpson from Alabama, the SEC love, right? The Georgia, what Stafford did with this organization, maybe that's kind of the secret sauce for the quarterbacks for the Rams. So I think that's pretty interesting right there. But all right, Brock, we got some. We don't really usually do this, but I'm going to read some comments here. People are feeling it.
All right, talk to me.
Let's see what we got. We got okay. This is a good one. This is a good one. I know the answer for this, but this is directly aimed at you. It's Muad'Dib69.
Right.
Is Brock gonna rep Rams or Lions in Week 14?
Ooh.
What's that gonna feel like for you? I mean, what does that feel like for you, though? I mean,
man, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm a fan now. I'm a fan. Obviously, I love both teams, so like, obviously, I'm a little torn. But you know, at the end of the day, I love seeing a good game. I love seeing great football, and those are really two good teams that you're gonna have a good game. So I've been loving it these past couple of years, seeing them play each other and seeing who comes out on top. And you know, for me, man, I just love seeing great games. So I'm honestly, I kind of step back when my teams face each other. Because I'm like, I don't want to be, you know, this or that. But, you know, for me, man, it's all about, you know, having a good game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? But, I mean, it's got to be because I'm sure you're friends with players, obviously, for the Rams a good amount, but the Lions, too. I mean, they're both chapters in your lives in that. But, yeah, I mean, it is it's always got to be pretty, you know, it's a weird week, to say the least, right?
No, for sure. For sure. It's always, like I say, anytime my teams that, you know, I root for play each other, I always kind of take a step back and just be biased and want to just watch the game, no criticizing or anything like that. Obviously, you're going to get me on the show and we're going to talk about it. But for the most part, when the game is played, hey, I'm just watching it as a fan, just enjoying the game of football. That's it.
Wow, this is a dig right here. This is from BC. Stafford has more playoff wins than the Detroit Lions have as a franchise. Wow. That's pretty intense. By the way, you know my mindset. I'll tell you how I would play that if I were you. Whichever team gave me the most money, that's who I would root for more.
Come on now. Come on. It's definitely gonna be my Rams then if that's the case.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We got a lot of people are last time the 49ers won it all. Yeah, Pearl Jam was people are just, there's a lot of 49ers fans in the chat, which is interesting, kind of hearing where that's at. And I mean, Yeah, people are saying Stafford.
Come on,
having
they should be in ours, because you remember when we lost to them on Thursday and we had to do that. It was hella 49er fans in our thing. Now we have to tell them that that they do a Locked On 49er show, right? No,
exactly.
But they're
I
not.
know, that was the show, right? That was the show we had to remind people, right? Now I remember a lot of people talking about the Seattle Seahawks, and it's going to be really interesting to see, because let's be honest, it does feel like it's a two-team race in the NFC West. After today, with Fred Warner being out, you saw that impacting this game in a massive way. The 49ers just kind of being depleted, not feeling like that team, not feeling like they had that juice. I mean, you mentioned having a great quarterback and what that means. Even if Brock Purdy's in there, I'm not afraid of this 49ers team at all. But it's going to be interesting to see the Seahawks and the 49ers and the Seahawks and the Rams, because really the NFC West circle of life used to be the 49ers beat the Rams and the Rams beat the Seahawks and everyone beats the Cardinals, right? Well, now it looks like it's between those two teams.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a tough game, man, because the Seahawks have been playing at a high level. Sam Darnold has it rolling right now. Jackson Smith, Jigba, he's doing his thing, and their running game is complementing the passing game. So this is going to be a tough divisional game coming up for us. But, anytime we play the 49ers or we play the Seattle Seahawks, it's a turn-up game for us. So I already know McVay has it on his mind that he's planning on to do his thing. It's just about going out there and executing at the end of the day. But it's going to definitely be a good game.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. They keep pointing out, like they said, the last time 49ers won Independence Day with Will Smith was the #1 movie in the box. Come on, everyone's how that pause, because that was on July 4th. But let's just play. Rams fans are really having fun with this win because of week 5, and I think that's another kind of subplot here is I feel like you kind of put that bad loss behind you and you're proving, hey, we can take something, use it as fuel, make some adjustments, and we're the better team. We can beat them in their house.
Absolutely. I mean, they know if it wasn't for a fumble here, a miss kick here, we win that game. Obviously, they played tough. Mac Jones was inspired through something to finish that game, but they know if there were some self-inflicting, injuries to ourselves that gave them the win in that game. And this time we didn't have that. So you see, when we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, as they say, and we go out there and utterly dominate the opponent like we should, what the outcome is. So as of right now, I think the 49ers, they wouldn't want to see us a third time. And that when you have that effect and that feeling, then that's the real winner of that fight.
No doubt about it. This one's good. Brian Jones says they need to be called the San Francisco 95ers, because that's the last year they won a Super Bowl. So that's pretty solid. Also want to give the offensive line some credit too. I mean, 1 sack for 5 yards for Matthew Stafford. Like you mentioned about special teams, when you don't talk about special teams, it's usually a good thing. When you don't talk about the offensive line, it's usually a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, when you got, a guy that you want to keep standing, and he, you keep him standing, and he goes out there and utterly dices the defense apart. I mean, that's what you want to see. I don't think the offensive line goes out there and wants to give up a sack. It just happens. The ball needs to be out. He's trying to make a play, something of that nature. I mean, a sack is a sack. But for me, I love the fact that, you keep him standing. He goes out there. He's 24 for 36, 280 with 4 TDs, man. That's a great day. I think it kind of reminds me of that game. What was that? A couple of weeks ago we were playing. I think it was the Jaguars where we had, a great game. We beat them by 30, 20-some points, 30-some points. But our yardage, if he only had like 270 or 2, it kind of reminded me of that game where he doesn't have that long a field to work with. So you're not seeing those 300, 400-yard games.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he had sub 200 against the Jaguars, but I mean, he did so much damage on their part of the field in the red zone that it's all about the tutties anyway, right? I mean, he's proven he can throw for 400 if he needs to. So that's what's great about him in this offense. I think too, that's a good indication that the running game is where it needs to be. And I think it was a better game for the Rams running game too. And we'll talk a lot about this on our Thursday show. We kind of have some more time to digest this. as you point out, I mean, it was a great team win for the Rams. The Ramley, they're loving it. They're loving this one. The 49ers fans, I will say 49ers fans that are Dodgers fans, it's going to be kind of awkward when you have to hear the I Love LA song today. That's got to be weird for you. But, hey, Rams get the win. Brock, any final thoughts?
None at this moment, brother. I mean, I think that was a great win by the Rams. We really showed that we can come out of a game, learn from our mistakes and move forward. I think, that's what the good teams do. Moving forward, we got some great games coming up, playing, the Seahawks, they're on fire, we're on fire. It's going to be the battle of the champs, whoever wins this game, has a high top to move forward and win the division. So man, for me, man, I'm looking forward to this game, man. I think it's going to be, a banger.
Me too. I'm trying to spend as much time enjoying this one in the 24-hour rule, but I'm already looking ahead at one of the most important games of the NFL in November football. So you're right, man. That's going to be an electric matchup, Seahawks, Rams, to kind of see who's that team in the NFC West, at least right now. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. My man, the great Michael Brockers. Go follow him on Instagram. Go follow him on Twitter. You see his shows. He's got other shows he does, podcasts, breaking down what it's like to be an NFL defensive lineman at the highest level. So go check all of his stuff out. Go check all of his socials out. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. And if you like BTA on the 49ers, hit the like button for your Los Angeles Rams. And drop some comments down below. But there you go. But we'll see you guys on Thursday. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.